turns out later, when I was stationed on the Saratoga, the aircraft carrier, I'm sitting there with a bunch of A-4 pilots, and we're telling stories. So they're telling story about flying in Vietnam and Alpha Strikes and all that. And I said, I don't have anything like that. I just have this thing that happened, you know, when I'm flying with the F-14. He said, oh, tell us about it. So I told him about it, and he goes, Jim, do you have any realization of what happened on that? Why it happened? I said, no, nobody ever talked about it. And he says, let me tell you. He says, about the time you were flying that A-4, the fleet, the whole fleet went down. We did a safety stand down on the A-4s because we had lost like 10 or 11 A-4s. And most of them were foreign pilots, that had purchased the A-4 and gone through training, and they were losing them. These airplanes were just tumbling out of the sky, and they couldn't figure it out. So they did a safety stand down, and they sent an A-4 back to Patuxent River for the test pilots. And the first test pilot came up, and he took it to up to altitude, and he was able to replicate what happened. And the airplane tumbled through the air, and he punched out of the airplane going through 10,000 feet. He says, on the second, then we went to the simulator, and we were able to duplicate it in the simulator, and then the test pilot took it back up, and he was able to recover it. The only way to recover it is to put 2 negative G's on the airplane. What had happened was the flaperons on the A-4, which are on the wing, when you roll the airplane, when you put the stick to the right or to the left, the flaperons do the opposite, and that gives you a tight roll. But if you roll the airplane and you don't take that side stick out and you pull G, one of those flaperons might go in, and then you have full lift on one wing and no lift on the other, and it throws that wing up and over your shoulder. It doesn't, you don't do a roll. You do has way too much lift on one side, and that's why they have them go down and up at the same. If they just have one, that wing tumbles. So you got pitched over your shoulder basically, and it'd roll until it recovered, and then you basically, every time you pulled it, it'd do it again. So he says, I don't know how you figured out how to recover, but yeah, you saved your life. And that's what happened with a test pilot. So to me, that was God's intervention in my life, saving me from immediate destruction like those other 2 times we've talked about.